as you said, Niall, there has been a few wild things announced in in combat sports, and I really feel as though this Tyson v. Roy Jones Jr., which you predicted would probably have a lot of shockwaves through the industry. We've now heard that Logan Paul is going to fight Floyd Mayweather in February, and that's an insane matchup, like one of the greatest fighters ever against Logan Paul.
It's crazy.
I'm not too sure who's Logan Paul's ever fought, but as well as that, I saw Adam Cattrall tweeting during the week last week that Snoop Dogg and Triller, the guys who put on the Mike Tyson fight, are putting on this thing where, you know, if you want to fight, you can go on there and get paid to do so. We've got Clarissa Shields to the PFL. But I guess my main question for you, Niall, is, and this is what I thought about, and I saw a few people talking about it, the fact that Logan Paul is fighting Mayweather, it kind of gives it legitimacy because Mayweather is who he is. Do you think that makes it more likely that we could actually see like a McGregor v Jake Paul here? Because this is easy money for these guys. Like, from a business point of view, this makes sense to do it. This isn't like fighting Conor for Mayweather. This is like fighting a YouTube guy. Let's be honest. Now, look, they seem to take their boxing very seriously, but they could probably make a parallel payday for fighting one of these Paul brothers as they would a top contender. So, you know, that's where it's troubling for me.
It does make it more likely, yeah. Of course it does. When you hear Floyd Mayweather is fighting, as you said, a YouTuber, it totally demeans the sport. And I think, you know, if you look at boxing where it is at the moment, and you can argue whether you want all day about this, I think, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, I think boxing tends to jump on the back of mixed martial arts a lot of the time in terms of, you know, Katie Taylor, Cyborg. It seems to be one-way traffic at the moment that boxing wants to get mixed martial artists in the boxing ring, because I think they realise that a lot of mixed martial artists are actually marketed a lot better than boxing these days, and boxing isn't the way, you know, with the TV contracts, the disputes there where you can't see the fights you want to see. Obviously, May Pac took years to happen, stuff like that. So boxing has to look outside of the squared circle. Do you know what I mean? It has to go other routes in order to get traction. I think that's what they're trying to do, putting on this fight. And yes, it does. Like for Mayweather, he's going to clean up from this. You know, Logan Paul, I think, is like 10, 15 million. Yeah, he's going to kill him. Like, but it's, you know, from a purist point of view, it's a terrible look, I think, for the sport of boxing. It's dreadful, like, because...
Yeah. I have to say, I kind of disagree slightly with the you know, boxing relying on MMA. I just think this is the first time, like, it was very boxing or MMA, they were against each other for a long time. I feel like this is the first time they're trying to coexist for a mutually beneficial conclusion, as in more money.
Well, where are they
Clarissa going to the PFL?
Where are they
Clarissa Shields going to the PFL?
Yeah. That's different. I think that's
so a boxer is coming to MMA. The example you used, you said you're trying to get MMA fighters into the boxing ring. That's the opposite of that.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm talking in terms of marketing. It always seems that boxing has to sort of come in and pick MMA guys out and bring them in. I think in terms of Clarissa Shields, her going over to MMA is because she realises that probably there's not a lot for her in boxing anymore. She's reached the peak of her career. I think it's totally different in terms of that. She wants a new challenge. She's probably going to, you know, arguably get more money in mixed martial arts as well. I think she said, you know, she thought, you know, in terms of pay, boxing was a lot more sexist. Now I don't want to get into the whole...
Well, I think MMA is as well.
Gender debate. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at what the champions are paid in MMA, I think the female champions don't get paid as much as the male champions, I think. And then when you look down towards the ends of those divisions, there's people with ranking places in the women's divisions that don't get paid like rank guys in the other divisions as well, you know?
Yeah, well, that's
there's a few different studies been done on it.
Yeah, that's a different debate anyway for a different day. But I think she's moving over for a totally different reason, as in terms of the ones we pointed out here at the start of the show, or just there at the start of this conversation.
Yeah. I just feel as though it's just, this is what boxing, like, that's what I saw Adam and Nick talking about it today on Fight Disciples. Like, this could be what boxing looks like in the future. If people are buying this, if there's so much of an appetite for this, that and it's kind of cultural transitions from just boxing fans, now it's all this YouTube money coming in. Like, if boxing doesn't sort itself out, this is the way it could be forever, you know? That's what the guys were saying. But I do feel as though that heavyweight, that triangle there, Joshua, Wilder, Tyson Fury, like, Joshua's fighting this weekend. If they do Fury and Joshua next year, it's the biggest fight of the year, I think. I don't think MMA can compete with that.
Yeah. No,
Unless you do Habib and Conor again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like, you know, I do think these fights are going to become a lot more in the limelight, especially in terms of boxing, because I think boxing is struggling badly. We saw what happened with DAZN, as we mentioned as well, I think last week on the show. So they're going to look for other ways to try and sell the sport. And even if it means, I think, sacrificing their own hardcore fans at this point, it doesn't really matter in terms of boxing. I think that's sort of gone by the wayside a long time ago. And probably when Maymac happened, that was it, you know. So yeah,
blew the doors open.
Yeah, there is, and I think there's a thorough lack of respect for your hardcore boxing fan now, and I think we've seen that with this fight announcement, because in terms of a matchup, it's a total another piss take. Let's be frankly honest about that, Petesy, and you know what?
I think he's got a chance, man.
Listen, like, he looks about 6'9" anyway. Like, what height is the guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, he looks huge. So like, I don't know what they're going to do.
I think Logan Paul,
with the weight or anything.
I think Logan Paul, his younger brother, weighed in for his last fight at like 190 pounds. Like, so I mean,
yeah, that's why I was a bit confused.
Lad, like.
I thought Floyd was taking the piss when he posted that on his Twitter, because I thought there would have been a massive weight discrepancy between the pair. So listen,
there will be, but I mean, I don't think that means anything for when you look at the level of.
My levels of interest are absolutely like minus 100. Like, I have fuck all interest in this. I just think these YouTubers just need to get in line, mate. And I can understand it from their point of view. They're trying to make money, get traction, all that bollocks.
Of course,
but still, it's just very disheartening, I think, for anyone. For anyone who's a purist of the sport, it's just terrible. It's disgraceful. And listen, thankfully, thankfully that's not happening as much in MMA. I know there's these, organizations around Poland and stuff doing fame, which is obviously a load of bollocks as well. But at least it's not really been
in the UK as well.
In the UFC, to be honest, and I'm sort of grateful for that to some extent, Petesy.
Hello, guys. If you want to hear more of The Bash, you can subscribe to us on all our wonderful channels on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and all that other shit.
And click the links below. Click the links below, the notification button. It comes straight to your phone if we've any fresh content. And also hit the subscribe button. It does help. You're some plonker.
It's very serious.